Next, for problem 22, we have a complex fraction that we have to simplify. I work with the numerator and denominator separately, and then we'll bring them back together at the end. So 1 plus 3 over x, let's think about what our least common denominator is. Well, I would first change 1 into 1 over 1, so that I can see that my least common denominator would be x. I need to multiply my first fraction by x over x, so that I have x over x plus 3 over x, which will just become x plus 3 over x. Cool, we'll come back to that. Now with your denominator, 2 minus 5 over x squared, again, I would first change it to 2 over 1. My LCD this time around then would be x squared. So I multiply my first fraction top and bottom by x squared. I get 2x squared over x squared minus 5 over x squared, which would be 2x squared minus 5 over x squared. I'm not able to cancel anything there either. I remember that I am just dividing fractions, so I remember that I can copy dot flip. So I have x plus 3 divided by x divided by this guy. Well, I'm going to skip a step and call that, okay, copy dot flip x squared over 2x squared minus 5. I cross cancel before I multiply. X squared and then x to the first. Well, that guy just cancels out, and then I reduce. I only have 1x left over. Multiply across top, x times x plus 3, no need to FOIL it out, over 2x squared minus 5. I always try to factor at the end, see if things will cancel, but 2x squared minus 5 doesn't factor, so I am done. Number 26, now I'm going to go ahead and use that process of multiplying everything by my least common denominator. So to figure out what my least common denominator is, I think about what they are so far. Okay, one of them's got a 5, 2 of them have an x, and then that's it. That's not so bad. So I multiply each one by my LCD. So I'm going to have 9 over x times my LCD plus 7 over 5 times my LCD equals 31 over x times that 5x over 1. For my first term, my x's cancel, and I just have 9 times 5, that's 45. Second term, my 5's cancel, I just have 11x. And last term, my x's cancel, I have 31 times 5, 15, 155. Now as I solve for x, I subtract 45 from both sides, which gives me 11x equals 110. Divide both sides by 11, x equals 10. I go back at the very end to make sure I don't have any extraneous solutions. Well, as long as I don't have 0 in my denominator anymore, I'll be fine. Plugging in x equals 10, I don't get one there, I can't get one for that middle fraction, and then I get 31 over 10. We are good to go. Lastly, number 29. We want to think about our LCD, so we can multiply everything by our LCD. Notice we didn't have anywhere we could solve by cross multiplying. We usually save that when you've got a fraction equals a fraction. So this time around, I am going to first notice that I have x squared minus 9 for a denominator. I'm going to change that to x plus 3x minus 3. So that when I consider my least common denominator, I see that it is in fact that, x plus 3 times x minus 3. We're going to take every single term and multiply by that guy. I have 4x over x plus 3 times that least common denominator equals 37 over x plus 3, x minus 3 times my least common denominator minus 3 over 1 times x plus 3, x minus 3. We'll see if it'll work. I can just copy and paste it. That would be great. Okay, successful first try. Okay. And then our last term, multiplying by x plus 3, x minus 3. Woohoo! We were able to get lots of things to cancel. So when we have 4x over x plus 3, our x plus 3's cancel. And I'm just left with 4x times that x minus 3. Notice I threw it in parentheses. Equals. In our next one, both our x plus 3 and our x minus 3's cancel. So I just have 37. And then lastly, from my last term, we have nothing cancel. That's a real bummer. So since I have to multiply that negative 3 times that x plus 3, x minus 3, I'm going to go ahead and switch these guys back into their x squared minus 9 form so that I can just take negative 3 times x squared minus 9 and save myself a little bit of hassle. I distribute so that I can solve. 4x squared minus 12x equals 37 minus 3x squared plus 27. And we begin to solve. So I'm going to add 3x squared to both sides so that I can get a 7x squared. Minus 12x, nothing combines with it. 37 plus 27, 64, yeah. So I have a positive 64 on the right, so I need to move it to the left by subtracting it. Minus 64 equals 0. Now from here I need to factor, or I see first if I can factor. If I can, I can use the quadratic formula. But let's see first if I can factor. We're going to take 64 times 7, 28, 42, 44, 448. Okay, what numbers multiply to 448 and subtract to give me 12? Those numbers are going to be 16 and 28. So I set up my parentheses. I have x and 16, x and 28. My signs are different. My bigger number is subtraction. X minus 28 plus 16. And then we're going to have to divide and slide by 7. 16 over 7, I cannot reduce that. So I call it 7x plus 16. 28 over 7, I can reduce that. We're just going to call it 4. Then, since I am solving, I set both of those separately equal to 0. I have positive 4 and negative 16 sevenths, but I can't call it a day until I go back and make sure that these answers won't be extraneous. Well, from the beginning, the only numbers I couldn't plug into my denominator were positive 3 and negative 3. Otherwise, I would have gotten 0. Neither of these are positive 3 or negative 3, so they are both my final answer.